whatever folks are interested in, would like to hear more about, or if you have specific questions, we've got Daniele and Chue here to answer them today. So does anyone want to be brave and ask the first question?
Yes, I can go first.
All right.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Actually, this is first time attending something similar. It's a pretty good idea. Congratulations for setting up the event for us. It's really helpful. Yeah. So I'll jump straight forward to the question to not waste everybody's time. Um, you've probably seen one of my recent messages on SignalWire Slack channel asking a lot of stuff related to the voicemail detection. And I'm working on something on my company related to detecting where the beep is happening to be able to play an audio, and I was not able to um, get a simple event that only get triggered when we hear the beep. So played with the params, wait for the beep and playing with different silences timing, but it was not happening. And the only solution I could find so far is, well, just act like any human. When you hear something coming from the detection, play the audio. And if you hear something coming up again, just stop that audio and play again. So it feels like the detection is interrupting me and I replay again the audio. Well, I was like 2 weeks of work, and the question is there um, any intention in the future to work on just sending an update event, detection update event when the beep is happening, like no silence related, no machine ready related, nothing, just after the beep.
Well, I think that's something that we could consider. So you don't care about anything. You just want to wait after the beep. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
And you would like to do that through an event.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think
that would be. Yeah, that would be super helpful.
What's the beep noise? Is that like a custom noise as well, or is it just literally like beep and consistent sound of noise, or is that always changing depending on the scenario, depending on the workflow of what you're trying to accomplish?
What I'm trying to accomplish here is just to play the audio once we hear the beep, and there's different variances of voicemails as I experienced. Like there's voicemails that can wait up to 4 seconds for you to talk, and there is voicemails that triggers the, I would say, um, not recalling, but re-asking you to talk or something like that after only 1.5 seconds. It's a variance. It's not it's not a constant thing between all the VMs. And the simple thing would be for like from my point is just to get the I would say event of beep, as simple as that. We have audios. We allow our users to store, recordings, MP3 type of recordings, and it would be awesome just to, play that audio straightforward when we hear the beep.
Could I ask a few clarification questions, Abdul? You're sending outgoing calls, and you want to record voicemails on other people's voicemail systems, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
And are you using the compatibility API, or are you using the other API? I forget what it's called. Are you using like okay, so I think there's three ways to make outgoing calls. One is with the Twilio compatible API, and then there's the other API that's more robust, that has more parameters. But you can also respond to a streaming version of the audio that your software could interpret and look for beeps in, and then send streaming output. to the audio channel. So I think you've got a three-way choice there, and I wonder what your current approach is.
The current approach is, as I've explained, well, I would consider like listening to the stream and detecting the beep, unless the computing time going to take much more than 1.5 seconds. Because if it do that, most of the VMs going to fail. Most of the VMs, once they're going to trigger the audio, it's going to I would say, is going to talk over the VM new voice. So let's say, for example, my phone number is 06. Hey, welcome. This is the voicemail of 06. Please feel free to leave your voicemail after the beep. Beep 1.5. The VM start talking back, asking that you need to talk in order to trigger the VM recording. If you do not, it is gonna get, keep repeating that, I think twice, 3 times, and then just hang up the call. In my case, like if just streaming the audio and hearing and detecting the beep could be within 1.5, it would be awesome. I would do that. And my current the way I'm doing it right now is, I was doing it on the detection finished event. So when detection finishes, I trigger the audio, and it worked for just some audios, some voicemails, but there was like, I would say, 45% like that failing, because you're not only, you can't, well, we don't have all the voicemails having the default voicemail. So there's the ones I experienced, that there's three. There's the ones that have fully customized voicemail. The phone number or owner is the one who's setting up the voicemail, so you're gonna hear his voice. Or there's a mixture between the machine, between the voicemail and his voice that starts in the beginning, and there's the voicemail that tells you can talk after the beep. And there is the third one, the default one, which has the full automated voicemail, just to dict your phone number and gives you the beep to start. When I did the detect finish event, I was able to deliver the voicemail correctly for just the voicemails that have the default voicemail. And those two, the ones that have fully customized voicemail, and the second ones that have a mixed voicemail between a human talking and the voicemail was failing. The audio was getting triggered way before the voicemail starts. And I've played with different params, like to increase the silence threshold and all of that, but it was failing. Either it gets really early or really late, not at just after the beep. And when I looked back into the relay history of all the calls that I've done, I've noticed that the beep was always getting triggered after the last detection. So it's not the detection finished, but you keep getting the machine is ready. The detection detected that it's a machine, right? And the machine is ready. The machine is not ready. The machine is ready. The machine is not ready, and so on and so forth. And only the last one has the beep. So it feels like and the current setup that I did so far, which has a big successful rate, is when I get the ready event, I start playing the audio. So it feels like a natural language when you talk to me and I want to say something and you interrupt me, I just stop. And when you start talking again, actually, when you stop talking, I talk, and when you start talking again, I stop talking, so on and so forth. And on the last one where it has the beep, it basically we stopped all the previous audios, and there's only the last one playing. And it was just today and this morning my team has tested this one successfully. So, and to move on to the next level, which is basically, I would say, covering the majority with of voicemails, would be just to get a specific event of, here you have the beep, so you can do whatever you'd like to, either finishing the call or playing the audio, playing a TTS text, so on and so forth.
So I looked it up. Voicemail beeps are supposed to be standardized at 825 hertz, but the tone detection capabilities of both the APIs are only for DTMF. You know, you can get information about when a touch tone key was pressed. So if you want to wait, which might be more than the delay between the outgoing message and the beep, but also not wait too long so that you don't make the voicemail system think that you've hung up on it, for example, then you would have to use the streaming. You would have to have a program taking the RTP packets from the audio incoming from the call and waiting for that 825 hertz signal. Or actually, I would actually wait from anything from, you know, like 600 to 1,000 probably, because I'm not sure it's as standard as I might have been led to believe. But you know, when you do hear a beep, you can make that an event. It's not a huge programming problem. You know, there are very simple tone detectors that can do that for you. But in order to use that method, you would have to be using the stream. You'd have to be having an incoming and outgoing RTP stream, I believe.
Yeah, I'll definitely give it a shot. I'll look into that direction. I haven't thought about it. I was only between, you know, the REST API and the relay, and yeah, I didn't get the chance to. I was at a certain point, I was, you know, listening to the sockets and what they were sending, because I was looking everywhere to find any information that could be helpful in my case. And yeah, just in case, yeah, I will look into it. I will look into that direction. If you have any resources, feel free to. I think there is a chat here. I'm not sure, but yeah, if there's any resources, please link them up. I will. Oh yes, here you go. I can see them.
And then Noah also opened a feature request for us internally about the, you shared one of the other out of the box features that looks pretty similar, and mentioned it in the Slack channel in your conversation with him earlier this week, I think. So he's got a feature request open for that as well.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Something
I think,
to keep in mind. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, just carry on.
So I'm just thinking about this, and if you're looking at the audio and looking for the 825 hertz, you could, I guess you could build a range instead of just focusing on the 825, and also you could. So let's imagine that you figure out that all voicemail tones that you've heard are at least half a second long. For example, you could look at the call audio and wait for 500 milliseconds of the 825 hertz sound. But that could still fail because of noise, because there's some problem in the stream, for example, and the audio cut off. So you could set a percentage of allowed milliseconds where you're okay with the frequency not being there. So, but this will never be. This will get you really close to what you want, I think, but it will never be perfect because of audio issues. Like if the stream cuts off, there's and the duration of the sound breaks your check. Basically, it's the sound that we heard in total was 1 second long, but there was like 25% of it, 250
Yeah.
milliseconds are gone because of the stream. Like that's very hard to account for.
I
But
think
yeah, I would probably start there.
Yeah, I think it's good to maybe, I'm not sure because I need to experience that. I think it's a combination between listening to the stream and triggering the audio when you hear when you get the tone at the right hertz. I think the mixer between both would be awesome. So whenever you whenever you detect uh, um, a new beep at a certain hertz. I mean, it's not going to be a specific one, but I will make sure to be a range, as Jim has mentioned. I think I've wrote that somewhere. It's between 600 and 1,000. If I ever get a new tone in that range, I would just stop the previous. I would pause the previous because I'm relying on the audio finishing to end up the call. Basically, I'm gonna be pausing the previous audio and starting a new audio again. So if it's ever, for example, let's say um, I don't know. For example, if anything happens on the call, and let's say we have a phone that has I would say the voicemail reception. You can get some tones, and afterward you get redirected to a call to be able to talk to someone else on that call. So on that redirection, if we don't detect the beep within that range, I will not play the audio, and basically the other person can end up the call. And this can make, I would say, the delivery much higher than what I have right now. But I need first to explore the streaming option and see what I can come up with.
So I would love if once you try some of these out, you would post in the Slack and let us know where you ended up, what you ended up trying, because it seems like a lot of folks in here are actually pretty interested in this use case. And it'd be
Sure,
cool to
yeah.
hear kind of what works and what doesn't for you.
Sure, it was a journey, definitely. I will share. I'm just willing to, get the best percentage I can have, and then I can definitely share all the informations I was able
For
to
sure.
get.
That's awesome. All right. Does anyone else have a question? Want to go next?
I've got one. It should be simple, I believe. I've been trying to get wideband audio from cell phones, which, as you know, back in February, the International Mobile Phone Consortium's phased out 3G. So now every cell phone should feasibly be able to send wideband audio. But for some reason, carriers don't like to send wideband audio to other carriers. That is, if you make a call from an AT&T phone to another AT&T mobile phone, maybe you'll get a wideband connection. But if you call a Verizon phone, it might not go through as a wideband call, and vice versa. And that's true for every pairwise set of carriers. So I did some research, and I found out that there was a system run by AT&T, which is very strict about forcing wideband audio, apparently, and it's called Office at Hand is their trademark, but you might probably know it as Ring Central, which I think might even be a SignalWire competitor, or maybe a FreeSwitch competitor, if such a thing exists. But so I'm trying to get. I have an AT&T Office at Hand account, and I'm trying to get SIP calls from the phone number that they assigned me there to come into my Ring Central system into a voicemail box. And they gave me a number of credentials: outbound proxies, outbound proxy port 5096, username, password, authorization ID, SIP domain, remote and local SIP ports. And I know that this needs to go somewhere into the external.xml and public.xml configuration files on FreeSwitch to get the to achieve the goal of getting wideband audio incoming calls. But I cannot figure out these configuration files. I've done some searches. I've looked all through the wiki. I looked at 5 different wiki pages on these files. I'm pretty sure that it does need to be set up in one of these 2 files, but none of the parameters in any of the example files I've looked at have any sort of connection to the credentials that I've been given by AT&T Ring Central. So what I'd like to know is where is a resource that might have this information? Is there any description of how to configure FreeSwitch external SIP profiles and public dial plan XML files that explains where to put these credentials, these passwords, and proxies and SIP domains in.
I don't think we have any of our free switch guys on the call right now to answer this one, but I will get this over to them and hopefully have an answer by the end of the call.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, no problem. Anyone else have a question? Oh, nothing else in the queue. All right. I have a question that was submitted in advance. So the question was, how can I learn to write a media bug for audio and video to be piped into Python processes? And I will go ahead and paste that into the chat.
Chue, you want to take that? Otherwise, I can.
Yeah, I'll provide some insight on that as and then for anyone else, feel free to chime in as well. So regarding this question, basically for the audio side of things, there is the stream of LAMO or tap of relay. So there's many different options that can be done. So it's similar to like an RTMP, but for audio from that perspective. And then the second part, not really second part, but a combination of the video side of things that would be like the RTMP side of things. So I mean, if you really wanted to, you could inject in both to actually perform and assist with the OpenCV portion of it. I know there was, the mod OpenCV or the mod Python. For me personally, I'm not too familiar with the Python process of it. Daniele, do you want to provide any other insight on that question, or anybody else?
I'm not familiar either, but yeah, you can use these methods to stream separately audio and video, as you were saying, audio through the tap methods, whatever SDK you're using, be it the compatibility SDK or the Node SDK or the new real-time SDK, and then RTMP for video. By the way, I was curious, how many of you have tried the new real-time SDK? This is a new version of the SDK, which was previously called SignalWire Node. The npm package was called SignalWire Node because you are developing a Node.js application. And if you haven't noticed, the new version of that is now included in a different package, which is called SignalWire/real-time API. Did any of you try that already? It's pretty new, so but give it a shot.
Yeah, give it a shot. Provide us some feedback. If you run into any issues, feel free to submit a ticket or go into the community Slack, and we'll definitely get back to you. And any suggestions is welcome. So features or anything at all.
Awesome. Will one of you guys drop a link to the new the announcement for that so folks can go take a look if they like? And then anyone else have a question? Awesome. All right. Daniele, do you have anything, or actually Chue, either of you, for PVC or anything you want to talk about there?
Yeah. So I can talk a little bit about the programmable video conference. pretty much we've been updating the programmable video conference every week. So if there's any, I mean, if you've tested it, tried it out earlier, continue to do so. It's fairly simple. If you log into your Space UI or dashboard itself, you can either go right into your video conference right away, or you can actually embed it into a website, any web page or anything at all, and actually get your own little video conference up and running. Right now, we're actually implementing a chat feature, so something similar to the right-hand side. So that's something that will be upcoming very soon. And at the same time, along with that, we do have our app kit, which you could definitely use and program and extend the PVC to your own extent. So there's a lot of updates going on with the PVC. So do try it out, test it out, similar to what Daniele was saying with the new SDK and such. So try it out. If you do run into any issues or anything, submit a ticket. It'll be triaged to the SDK team, and we'll definitely look at your issues. And if it's a feature request, we'll determine it, triage it, and possibly implement it. So please do try it out.
Awesome. And speaking of feature requests, we did include if anyone had any feature requests they wanted to put forward, we would love to take them in this call as well. So besides questions, if anyone has anything that they're looking to do that they can't, or any blockers, we'd love to hear about those.
I have a sorry, let me get my camera fixed. I do have a feature request. The Twilio compatible API that I think a lot of people use and probably is very popular among your customers, especially those who realize they can save a lot of money when they come over from Twilio and don't want to rewrite all their code, is not quite as powerful as what's the name of your other API? The I forget what it's called. It's oh my gosh,
real-time API, relay.
Yeah.
Real-time.
Yeah. So, for example, recording audio for an incoming call, which is one of the things I do. With the Twilio compatibility API, you have one timeout. But with your more full-featured API, you have two timeouts. That is, the amount of time you will wait after the beep or after the last played audio before timing out on the person who's supposed to start talking. And then there's a completely separate timeout, completely different number of seconds, that describes how long after they stop talking you will end the recording. And you could embrace and extend, I think is the industry term, the Twilio compatible API by putting those two timeouts into the record tag, the record API call, allowing anybody who sends either of them to override the normal single Twilio compatible single timeout, which is not as nearly as useful. So that is my feature request.
Thank you.
Definitely noted. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Anyone else with feature requests they're looking for? All right. If no one else has any questions, we'll probably end a little early. So last chance.
Alex, I had that support call open for my question. I also asked it on Slack, and Ryan gave me a pointer to the Confluence on that. I let him know that there are all the places I looked through there on that ticket. So don't worry. Don't hold the call open for me. If you've got your free switch people coming back to you with that answer, and yeah, Alex, I did look through that. That's one of them in there on that. Your ticket number 34286. Just go ahead and end the call and ask them to follow up on that ticket with me, because that'd be far better than keeping the.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, Jim, I noticed that Fred did reply to you probably yesterday, so maybe you haven't seen it. But
Yeah.
if
No,
that,
I saw that. I saw that. Unfortunately, that was not helpful. None of those pointers had any of the information I needed in it.
all
Sorry.
right, yeah, I'll speak to Fred and we'll see if we can keep that moving forward.
Thank you so much.
Ooh, we have a question in the chat as well. I'm actually not sure the recording will capture chat. So looking at SignalWire containers, or at SignalWire in containers and FreeSwitch, I'm using FreeSwitch as a media gateway in a Windows environment, which is able to link to a PBX with registrations supporting conferences. Started looking at this essentially with WebRTC, which seems okay and needs a bit of tidying up, but not so for third-party call control with the CSPA. Do you have any information which can help?
Joe, that might be best to kind of schedule a call with myself and maybe one of our engineers, just so we can really go through your call flow to better understand where you're seeing your hiccups. And you can reach out to me by doing that, Ryan at signalwire.com, and we can set up that call. Depending on the intricacy of your deployment there, sometimes FreeSwitch Enterprise has that step up that could assist you with the support. But again, like I said, if we have just a quick chat and figure out where it is, maybe it's just an easy answer and I can't answer it and one of the guys know it, and it's a 5-minute call. But yeah, reach out, we'll set up a call, and I'm happy to try and walk through that with you.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan. All right. Anyone else before we end a little early? Perfect. Thanks everyone for coming out and talking to us. And if you have any other questions or something that didn't get addressed in the call, or if you're watching the recording later, drop into the community Slack. We'd love to hear from you. And thanks Daniele and Chue for coming and talking with us.